If you are charged with a crime but never convicted, you should get that case sealed so it doesn't haunt you in the future during job interviews or other situations. The attorneys at JansenAlfrey can help you correctly clear your name. JansenAlfrey, attorneys at law, are members of the Colorado and Denver Bar Association. They belong to the Colorado Criminal Defense Bar and the National College of DUI Defense Attorneys, and they have no complaints registered with the Better Business Bureau. Kurt Alfrey joins us today. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Now, today we're going to be talking about sealment and expungement of cases.
Right.
Which is pretty interesting, but could be confusing for some people. What is the difference between sealment and expungement?
Basically, adult criminal records in certain circumstances can be sealed. Juvenile records can be expunged. So it's really just adult versus juvenile.
Got it. Well, that's good to know then. Let's talk about which kind of cases can be sealed then.
On the whole, the basic rule is if it was totally dismissed or you were found not guilty at trial, then a case can be sealed. There are certain exceptions regarding cases involving controlled substances, possession of a small amount of cocaine or something. If that case was totally dismissed and 10 years have passed, or even a conviction and 10 years have passed, then you can begin to apply to have that case sealed as well.
All right, so only if a case has been dismissed can it be sealed?
Unless it's certain controlled substances cases. Even petty offenses and misdemeanors, if they're controlled substance cases, after 10 years you can apply.
And so really anyone that falls into that category should go through the process of getting that case sealed. Otherwise, it's always going to show up on any kind of background check.
If you have either been so fortunate as to have your case dismissed, or if you went to trial and were found not guilty, or it got dismissed, or what happens with a lot of people, Chris, is they'll enter what's called a deferred judgment. And without going into a lot of time, at the end of the deferred judgment period, the case gets dismissed, generally. If that's the case, why have that continue to haunt you? You had that case dismissed. Now, the reason people should think about sealing is, have you ever applied for a job and had to write down something? Were you ever charged with something? Have you ever had that job interview where they say, well, what happened with this case? When then you're in the posture of, well, I was charged, but it was dismissed. Why put yourself into that? Or frankly, what if you're dating? Anybody with $6.50 can go on the internet and pull up your criminal record.
Yes, yeah, and we do these searches all the time with the companies that are on our list at haystackhelp.com. So we do the background checks and we find these criminal records that have been dismissed. And really, when it's dismissed, we know that it's in fact as if it never existed. So we encourage them, you should get this sealed.
You bet. Because legally what happens is if you get your case sealed, and it's quite a process. I mean, it is something you can do on your own, but I tell you, it's a bunch of forms and it's a bunch of, and it's court appearances and there are hearings and whatnot, which is I always encourage folks to get an attorney to make sure it's done correctly.
Yes.
Because there are some limitations, like in the expungement world, you can only apply once a year. And if you mess it up, you got to wait another year, right? But when a case is sealed, legally, you can say it never happened. So on a job application, if they say, have you ever been charged with a crime, and this was your only one, you can say no, legally.
It never happened.
That's right. Now remember, law enforcement and the courts and the district attorney will always be able to see it because it's legal history.
Right.
But the public will not be able to see it.
And really, anyone that has a case that can be sealed, really take the time to do it because, as you mentioned, you don't have to say that you were ever charged of any kind of crime.
Right.
Still, the only people that can see it are law enforcement and judges, right?
Yeah, if it's part of a new court case, of course they can see it, just like I said, because it's history. If it's a juvenile case and it's expunged, even the military can't see it.
Interesting.
So if you're thinking about joining the armed forces, you got an old juvenile case that went away, get it wiped off.
Right. So take advantage of this.
Yeah, you do.
Really, because even though it's on there, it doesn't have to be.
No, you got out of it. Why have it drag you down?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. Interesting topic today. So I'm going to tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. JansenAlfrey wants to ensure that you're represented fairly and informed about the charges against you before you make a bad decision. They're a criminal defense law firm handling everything from traffic offenses to domestic violence to DUI to major felonies. Call them at 303-297-3500 or visit their website at JansenAlfrey.com. They offer free consultations. The number again is 303-297-3500.